Hello, friend. It is time to talk about Mr. Robot Season 3, Episode 2, here on AFTERBUZZ TV. Come with us.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
It's always...
Yeah.
I love that creepy intro I do, and then I'm immediately like, hey, I'm so smiley here. Hello, everyone, and welcome to AFTERBUZZ TV's coverage of Mr. Robot Season 3, Episode 2. I'm your host, Steve Kaufmann. You can find me on Twitter at Steve Kaufmann. That is Kaufmann. We are full strength tonight.
That's right.
Starting with the returning far left, Mr. JC Rubio.
Hey, wait. Who is this guy? Is he real, or am I just imagining him?
I also see him.
I don't
So
see anybody.
Okay. He's real, then.
he passes.
I wasn't sure if it was just
He
me.
passes the Turing test. We can both see him.
Hello, everybody. What is up, guys? Thank you so much. And all you fans, thank you for reaching out. Of course, I wasn't going to miss it. Great new crew. And, of course, the old G. Thank you so much for having me. And make sure to follow me at JC Rubio TV. But before that, my password is a boy named Goo. And if you caught that, let me know in the chat room.
What? He doesn't give you that.
I love it.
Go on, sorry,
mean,
Lesley.
you know,
I'm gonna log in
People
as
might
JC Rubio.
hack in there anyway. Let's make it easy. Hi, I'm Lesley. You can catch me online at Lesley.face. How it sounds. What?
Huh? What? And I'm Rick Hong. You guys can find me on all social media at Rick Hong, RCKHONG.
So, there's talk of this being like, bar none, like one of the best episodes.
It was. Oh my gosh, it was amazing. I feel like it
Directing,
was my
man.
favorite episode
Directing,
this
editing
season.
on this show is awesome.
This show is always just bold filmmaking on television.
I
It's
agree.
Just a lot of fun.
You know
I'm
what
really.
I think made this episode so amazing for me was it felt like a
The nudity?
callback to the first season. Did it not?
Yeah,
like,
no, it was,
A lot
it was,
of the
yes.
feels from the first episode and seeing Elliot kind of back in the workplace rhythm, seeing his vulnerability, all of it. I was crying right there with him. Got me.
Let's say I'm gonna piggyback off that, and I have it up there maybe as close. My favorite all-time episode was probably season 1, episode 8. With White Rose, and then of course like 8 and 9 when you see, you know, the turn when you find out that Darlene's his sister. But what I loved most about this episode, it wasn't because of the aha got you moment. It was actually the tension that he built with Krista and Elliot. When I saw White Rose versus Price, we thought it was a heavyweight fight, and I was like, it can't get better than this. But then that scene for me, Christian Slater, the tension, all of that, for me, just the story. Ultimately, it's not about the aha, it's about the story. And
Yeah.
he nailed it on tonight's episode, or last night, sorry.
Great, and let's dive right in. We're gonna start
I'm
where
excited.
they ended, which is Dom, who has Darlene, representing the FBI, going and trying to flip Elliot and/or Mr. Robot, and he's smarter than them.
I mean, you guys were right. You were saying you didn't trust Darlene, what she was up to, and I actually was really surprised to see that she kind of went in and kind of betrayed him in a way. I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think about what she did that ended up?
Well, we don't really know what the deal is, though, right? In terms of like what would happen to Elliot. They all
I mean, she planted something in the computer for the FBI to, you know, eventually.
Right, but we don't know what
trace-
we don't know what her whole thing is in terms of, okay, so if she clearly has some sort of deal that she made, but maybe part of that deal is that Elliot won't get the full like penalty either. So that's why
we also have to. I'm still on Team Darlene because I think she was trying to do the minimal damage and bounce, and I think in her mind, whatever she did, she knew Elliot would overcome it without actually giving anything up. But she knew it would be seen as complicit on the FBI's end. Like I still give her that much credit.
I don't know. I still felt like it was a sense of betrayal, and it was on his birthday, and she like kind of texted him out of the blue, and that whole conversation they had about Kevin McAllister and the snowman, which I want to get into in a bit. But I don't know. It just felt like it was calculated, like she was going to go back and kind of set him up. And at the same time, you know, even though she knows that there is a Mr. Robot out there and they're split, that's still her brother, and he's not sure what's completely going on. She's still, you know, deceiving him a lot in a way, and I don't know.
I don't know if I
Felt
agree.
shady to me. I didn't
Here's
like
the thing, it is, but remember they're brother and sister, and she knows. I'm going to go with what you said early on, that she knew her brother, because I was a fool. I was like, Elliot, why don't you check your computer? Oh my gosh, she's told. And then like 5 minutes later, you knew, and that led me to believe that Darlene knew that Elliot would know that this was going to be a setup of some sort. I don't know if you guys are following me on that.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she knew. She knows her brother. She knows how deep her brother, she knows he's not dumb. He's not going to fall. So I think she knew that Elliot would sniff this out, which he did.
Okay.
So it's like a betrayal. It's like a double betrayal.
No.
Not of Elliot, but I'm talking about betrayal of the FBI. Like the FBI.
It's in poker that would be called a semi-bluff.
She's just not my favorite person right now.
She shouldn't be.
Okay.
Because,
Yeah.
well, but she got caught. Like, we're not gonna. She got caught wound up in an impossible situation. So there's going to be collateral damage to her only way out of an impossible situation. And the collateral damage might be either Elliot is in trouble or Elliot had to work really hard to avoid trouble. And when I say Elliot, I mean also Mr. Robot, because we have to assume every time they show us Elliot, it's actually Elliot, but that's not to be believed.
Correct.
So I don't want to put too much faith or thought into who is or isn't, who we are or aren't seeing at that moment.
Well, I mean, that's one of the reasons this episode's so mind-blowing, is we kind of see more and more of, like, Mr. Robot and Elliot, and kind of, like, back and forth the difference, and then the scene with him and Krista. Oh, my gosh, by the way. I'm happy that we see her again, because her scenes with Elliot were always my favorite, some of my favorites. And the one towards the very end with her, and she pulls out Mr. Robot, amazing. What did you guys think?
Oh, God, yes. This whole scene, this whole thing.
Tense, like you're saying.
It's interesting to see that more and more people now are seeing Christian Slater or Mr. Robot.
Yeah.
Like as opposed to like season 1, where we're led to believe that it's that he was actually like a real person, and then in season 2, he wasn't. Not many, like, I want to say it was just Elliot still could only see him. Or was it Darlene too, like partially? And now...
Well, in this season, the first episode, we saw Angela, and in this episode, his sister sees, and then Krista sees.
Yeah, it's like just slowly over... Like, more and more people are being like, oh, dude, you're not just
seeing
one
the
person.
ugliness of him. And what I think is interesting, and I read a couple of people point this out online, is that Elliot's dad, when we've seen him before, seemed like he was like a real... Not the guy that we see Mr. Robot is. Someone who was kind of like reasonable, level-headed, and I don't know. I guess because we hadn't seen Mr. Robot on screen for a while, I felt like he's really violent and just ultra militant and intimidating. Like, I don't know, like, I was scared for Krista when he got in her face in that scene. I was like, what is he gonna do?
Who among us thought he was literally just gonna kill Krista?
I'm saying.
You did?
What? No.
Really?
Like there was a moment where I was like, he might just, or
I thought
like
he was
maybe
gonna
not kill
hurt her,
but
or-
like physically threaten her. Like,
Yeah. Yes, I thought.
like
that.
I thought there'd be there was a high tension to that scene that I was like, he might just like choke her a little and be like, we're done talking.
Maybe-
Speaking for both.
What if maybe you thought that? I think it's because of the context of the 3 seasons that we had this build up for this final showdown. That he finally appears after 20-some episodes. That we see this. So you thought, what's going to happen with what just happened maybe 30 minutes before in the episode with Joanna? So it's just like Sam Esmail's always keeping us off our, off balance.
Oh, the
Just
pace
when
of
we- yeah.
and the pace of this show is just like so beautiful. Because I think the amount of like progression-wise, the amount of stuff that's happened in probably 2 episodes might take half a season for a lesser show.
So
Because
then
it would be villain of the week, it would be case of the week, and like we would slowly, incrementally work toward. No, she did.
So to counter to last season, which was very people would say was a lot slower. This has picked up. It's been since, I'm sure you guys talked about it last week, the frenetic pace. It's really picked up like season 1. So now we're seeing all this stuff.
And especially what happens in this episode.
Right.
We'll get to later, but...
Of course. Well, I think we've covered the Krista stuff. Little thing I didn't put on the board, but we should talk about. QWERTY is the dog's name.
Flipper.
Flipper is.
yeah.
But then I feel like Elliot named him QWERTY, right?
No,
Am
that's
I
the
making
fish.
that? Oh, QWERTY's the fish. Never mind. Elliot's pets. Flipper the dog had was pooping all over the place at Lenny's house. Lenny is Krista's ex.
Right.
And he brought the dog back to Elliot and like, well, you want this dog to poop everywhere. A Reddit user today brought up the fact that that's what dogs do when they have postpartum depression.
Yeah, no, I was. That's exactly what I thought.
Sorry, separation anxiety.
When he brought the dog back, I was thinking this dog's not sick. It just likes Elliot better than he likes the owner, and so he's exactly. He's either acting out or whatever's going on. I never really thought, oh, this dog's sick and he's going to start pooping all over Elliot's apartment. It was just more, no, that dog has connection with him more than with his. I guess, yeah, with Lenny.
Now I'm a little rusty with the little factoids and keeping everything straight again. But didn't in season 1 didn't Flipper swallow something he wasn't supposed to?
Yep.
So, could that be possibly it or something? I don't know.
That would be a way more logical explanation than the dog loves Elliot. It would just be a very biological answer, like the dog's intestines are messed up because he swallowed a microchip.
Right.
But it would poop it out.
Would he though?
Yeah.
It's a microchip.
Okay. Well, it depends on how big it is, but I mean,
Chat roll, help us out.
Yeah. Theoretically, like dogs can poop out a lot of different stuff. So can humans. So.
Well, I was thinking about the episode, and I felt like there was a theme of loneliness throughout the whole thing. So like Elliot's on his mission, and he feels like he's doing good, but he's crying. I feel like he feels lonely. I felt like that's where Darlene is in her headspace. And then at the same time, when we'll get to R.I.P. Joanna, you know, the guy who comes after her, again, didn't want to be lonely. And I don't know, that's like prevalent. There was a scene where Elliot's in the subway and there's a poster behind him that says separation anxiety. It was like with Will Ferrell.
And
I
Judi
thought that
Dench.
was funny. But then at the end, you know, I kind of got, after rewatching the episode, you know, he gets this dog back, and I don't know, maybe it's a way to could help alleviate his loneliness, and I don't know.
Well, the reason he placed that, that was immediately after the Krista and Elliot scene.
Yeah.
Because the whole episode, Elliot is missing Mr. Robot in a weird, strange way.
Right.
And you talked about loneliness, and you notice that the bouts of loneliness come most often when Elliot's trying to be normal.
Yeah.
You notice that every single time when he was watching the Marvel movies in season 1, and then now he's trying to fit in E Corp, and at the end of the night he's crying himself to sleep.
Watching Dancing with the Stars, or
I think I did that episode too.
So we'll actually flip the script. We'll go to Elliot, who's now at E Corp, and he's trying to cover his tracks. He's trying to get them. He's trying to get all the paperwork mailed to other places, but make it look like it's still in one building.
yeah. Having them like put the wrong address, wrong order. That whole opening sequence I loved, by the way. I don't know. I just thought
With
it was
the emojis and
it was like emotional and bittersweet, but it was funny, and then like again conveying how really smart he is, how on top he is, and like, you know, the most antisocial guys like really pushing to like meet with like the executives at his company, and they're like,
oh, you're talking about I mean, the emojis is something different than the subway,
Yeah,
which
the subway scene with the emojis
which goes to like what I was saying in the beginning, that's why this directing of this episode was just amazing. But then you're talking about how he keeps going up to chain and getting somebody fired, and
the
then
whole long sequence, they start introducing the emojis and him trying to be normal. I don't know. He's so endearing, and then like he's trying to do this thing, and then at the same time being the vigilante from the first season, you know, taking them out, like calling in the FBI raids, whistleblowing.
It was very Dark Knighty in a sense.
Oh, yeah.
There was just so much that happened in like
Also, speaking
1
of
minute.
a lesser TV show, Elliot at E Corp taking down scumbags above him. That would be a much lesser television show, but I would totally watch that show too.
Like coming this fall,
There's too much.
CBS, The Vigilante Hacker.
it's a good bunch of skits, because like the truth is I don't know if you guys have been in that type of like a corporate environment, but it feels very much that way, where he's pitching a genuine idea of this is how we can save costs. And that's what most
be
people
more effective.
Yeah, and that's how like all these like Forbes, Fortune, they tell people this is how you can get ahead, and this is outside the box thinking. The problem is that it's when you meet those executives that sit there and like, yeah, I got tickets to this, or I got to do that. It's like like they just cock block you when you know I have a great idea. And I'm gonna save a lot of money, but you won't listen to it because
the female exec
you don't
finally
care.
listened to him. I was like, yeah.
Well, and it's also with Elliot that he's not there for pure. He's pitching it that way because
He has a different ulterior motive, but in terms of just
It's
real
still the same in the
society,
company, though.
that type of behavior is so real. And unfortunately, we as normal people don't have the ability to hack into a system and sit there and get this person fired for that or get that person fired for this. And I thought it was really interesting that one of the guys at the very, very end, when the person's like walking out with the box, they say sexual harassment.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I'm just like, oh, look at the timing on that.
Yes. To do a deep dive,
Very
because I
poignant.
don't know if you're aware, but I kind of dive deep on this show.
Sure.
There is a subreddit called E Corp HR, or like literally inside E Corp. There's a subreddit where all the posts are archived and all the posts are like 2 or 3 years old. The very first post on the subreddit was referencing season 2, episode 1, where the guy burned all the money. Mm-hmm. And the most recent post on that subreddit is something to the effect of somebody just did a perp walk outside the lobby, meaning there should be no more information on this subreddit unless they find a way to submit an archive post, which
That's interesting. And then,
that would be really cool.
They showed a screenshot of him on Reddit and during that during that scene, and I saw online someone like found it, and it actually like happened in 2015, which is like it dates back perfectly. I don't know. It all syncs up together. It is really cool.
All the dates on the posts in Reddit correlate to roughly where we are in the show. It's really cool. Also, I didn't get my Amazon Echo Dot. Did anybody get their Amazon Echo Dot today? Through eCoin?
No.
Why
Do expand on that, my friend.
No, they sent last week it was an eCoin in Bank of E power bank.
Okay.
And then this week it was an Amazon Echo Dot. It was a special offer for eCoin that if you went to eCoin.com at that very moment, you were able to claim it and they'd ship it to you.
Damn it!
Apparently,
where was I?
Apparently, it was only available.
I don't know about this either.
Apparently, it was only available for like 3 minutes today.
Oh wow.
There was a limited number of them. I'm gonna get one. I'm eventually gonna get whatever. It seems to be roughly noon Pacific.
Go to eBay. It's gonna be like jacked up price.
Yeah, Elliot taking all the people down. I just think it was so cool to see because this is a remarkable, you know, or not like unassuming guy, right? Giving this presentation. He's shy. They are giving him 2 seconds, and yet he has a power that he can bring them all down. I don't know. I love it. It got me again to like root for this guy, and he even acknowledges his line of thinking in season 1. He was like, maybe that was just like my dorm room thinking that I have to destroy evil Corp.
Great
When
point.
really you can't like. Have to make it better. Otherwise, again, you might jeopardize the whole economic system and actually hurt more people. I don't know. It's just like he's evolving.
Okay,
It's like,
would you?
he's growing up.
Is it the maturity of Elliot that he's maturing, he's evolving?
I think it is the maturity, but I think he's also seeing the consequences of like, you know, when you're idealistic and you think, oh, I'm going to take down this big bad guy and everything will magically get better, and that's not the reality.
Yeah, it's almost like the food chain system of why can't we
Yes.
just get rid of flies? Why can't we just get rid of mosquitoes or something? Because
That's not how
it's
it
a
works.
whole food
Well, and
chain
there's also something to be said about the emotional complexity of Elliot versus the emotional complexity of Mr. Robot. Mr. Robot fully understands that if you tank a world economy to create anarchy, and throughout anarchy he'll create the utopia he feels like he'll create. He's okay with the fact that thousands of people will die in that anarchy. Elliot isn't.
That was established from the beginning.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That it's Mr. Robot who doesn't care about the collateral damage.
Well, he's a robot.
And I mean, that was their first conflict even back in season 1 when he first joins, and then Mr. Robot tells him, oh, I'm going to blow this thing up. And then as soon as Elliot hears that, that's the first time where he's like, wait, I don't know if I want to be a part of this. So, I mean, it's the same recurring theme. That's like their main difference in their point of execution of what they want to get.
I would say I kind of like what the Yellow King brought up on the chat roll. I wonder if Elliot starts to become so occupied with working at E Corp, he starts becoming more like Tyrell.
I think if Mr. Robot weren't there, that would definitely happen. I think there are a lot of forces that are gonna pull Elliot back toward the direction. Not all of which are even him at this point.
By the way, kind of towards the very end, after the whole Darlene thing, did you guys notice that when he's typing in his password at E Corp, it's like really long?
Of course.
It's like 20 characters long. I was like,
There is a point in there, if you guys look really carefully, it says RK Hunter. And I was thinking, I don't know if that's some sort of like a throwback to Rick, the character Rick Hunter from Robotech. That might be really me, really reaching.
No,
but
that
I was looking at it and it said RK Hunter. And I'm like, oh, interesting. And all I could think of was Robotech.
Okay.
If you guys ever watched Robotech. I don't know if you ever did.
I love the fact that you bring that up
smile and nod.
we're looking at so many things, any little grain of sand, and we're trying to tie it. And I love that. I don't know.
It could be nothing, but I just thought it was cool.
I mean, I'm sure it's intentional on purpose.
Sure. Oh, that much. Sure. Yeah. Absolutely.
So maybe you. I mean,
just like
probably right.
Just like Comet Electric at the end with the FBI sting. A throwback to a nod to his movie Comet. Sam Esmail's
Oh
first movie.
yeah. With Emmy and Emmy Rossum and Justin Long.
Yeah.
His wife.
So speaking of E Corp, Price is in charge of E Corp. He has a really good scene today where he pretty much calls out China for adopting, or at the very least not condemning, Bitcoin. Which kind of mirrors what's going on in our actual world economy currently, where that Bitcoin as a currency relies solely on what country not relies on, but gives a benefit to which country has the most computing power and the most educated populace in computing, which gives an advantage to countries like China. So there's mining farms in China more so than any other country, and then they're kind of mirroring that here, whereas Price wants to make his own currency.
Because he can this time around. Yeah.
He wants to make his own currency and have everybody join it. Whereas it seems that White Rose wants to back Bitcoin. For a reason we're not sure of. We're also not sure what phase 3 is.
Or phase 2.
Sorry,
stage 2.
Yes.
Stage 2, not phase 3. Stage 2.
Correct.
This isn't the MCU? I'm lost.
Yeah, right.
By the way, did you guys catch that eCoin commercial during the show?
I did not.
They ran one.
I missed
They ran
it.
an eCoin
Yeah,
commercial? That's
yeah,
awesome.
and there's a website that's like set up, and like you can log in and do all that stuff. And I was like,
cool.
oh, cool.
Oh, I've been active on that
Yeah.
website for a long time. That's where you would get the Amazon Echo for the 2 minutes that it's available.
Apparently that website didn't work then if you didn't get it, right?
Correct. Well, I need to learn how to write a script that will check the website every 30 seconds and alert me if it changes.
Here's the thing, man. Don't try to buy stuff via eCoin, dude. Just try. If you would have paid Bitcoin, dude, you would have got it. That's what happened.
White Rose, man, just that whole exchange though with him, it was good.
Bitcoin's a stronger currency.
Here's something I don't know if we've ever touched upon it, and I don't know, I don't want to derail the show, but why is it always called stage instead of phase? It's
Maybe we'll find that out. Or what's your take on it?
Oh, I have no take.
no, there is a take floating around there that Sam Esmail himself said it's always. Someone once said, I think it was Andy Greenwald, I believe, and it was an interview, and he called it, I believe it was phase 2, and he said, no, it's stage 2. And it's always referred to as a stage. So that always makes me think about, I hate to do this, I've been wanting to say this for a year now. Stage, could Elliot, someone be suffering from cancer?
Wow.
Oh, that's interesting.
Because like some sort of a brain, and that's the stage that he's in, and that's why we keep seeing this weird rabbit hole. Man, that's good.
really
If it is, that'd be
good.
great.
And I thought that often, and some Redditors have brought that up as well. That stage, it's always stage. Why can't you call it anything? Always stage. You can
That's a
round
great
2.
point. There has to be a reason.
You know, chapter 2, but it's always stage.
That's good. When you were saying that, the first thing I was thinking of was like a sound stage. Like, what if this is all? It's like I don't know.
That's last week, the simulation.
Well,
exactly.
Yeah. I'll back off that for the moment. With stage 2, and you guys are right, for what we know about stage 2, they're going to blow up a bunch of batteries in a building, so the building blows up, and all the paper records in that building get destroyed. Which, correct me if I'm wrong, is exactly what happened in Fight Club.
Yeah.
Where all the paper records were in one building, and they blew up.
Hey, dude.
They blew up the building.
We don't talk about Fight Club, man.
That's true.
That movie
the
with
first rule.
that movie with Edward Norton and Brad Pitt that we don't talk about. The movie that shall not be named.
So, let's talk about the
Favorite line though. Do not mistake my generosity for generosity. What'd you guys? Oh my gosh.
It's good.
So well delivered. But what do you guys think that means? Like specifically.
Well, you know, here's the thing. So I'll explain it to you guys.
Explain.
See, BD Wong is Chinese. He's Asian. So then it goes back to Confucius. And see, Confucius, as you guys know, is like a fortune cookie. And when you take the fortune cookie, it just becomes very confusing. So that's why he's saying, I know this because I'm Korean.
Sounds like we're having Angyang Haseo.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
what we're going to say is every week you should get like a segment, Rick's Rants.
Yeah, exactly.
Where he goes down a rabbit hole.
Yeah,
Yes.
but it has to be very Asian.
And it has
so
to end with
no, I mean, no,
Confucius.
it was really cool. I liked it. Was a very good line in terms of lines that you hear in shows, and this isn't normal show. And like with the directing, it's a movie. It's one long movie.
And that line could have been so hammed up, and it wasn't. That was the beauty of it, because that scene, there was so much, and I think you were talking about the generosity. It's because it's White Rose's control. Because at the end, he talks about, I'm going to slap Philip Price on the hand. He says, don't mistake my generosity for generosity. I'm letting you play around. Yes, I'm letting you have your fun with your coins, but I have a bigger game in place. And that goes from the overarching theme that we were talking about last week. Last week, you guys were talking about everything from quantum computing or, just time travel or parallel universes. And in this week, we get into the minutia. We get into the little part of the story. And it's interesting how none of us have talked about the big arching issues and themes. And now we're really
we're getting in there now with the tiny, and I like how they did this where last week they really let us go of just like, here's where we are in the universe, possible universes. And then we literally go down and
that's the beauty of it.
Watch Elliot go to work every day.
Yeah, absolutely.
Enjoy it.
So, the scene, okay, so we've talked about Krista and Elliot, White Rose and Price. Which scene did you prefer?
Kristen Elliot.
It has to be Kristen Elliot because it's the reveal of Mr. Robot after 2 seasons.
And just the whole scene, and then at the very end, when you're just like so shook by everything that you've seen, and then Elliot is just like, oh, so when are we going to start? Oh my gosh. It was just
that
like,
scene.
It just encapsulated everything. And again, Rami Malek, amazing. He's so good. And then just the look on her face, terror, oh shit. It was so good. So yeah, that scene has to win all the marbles.
No, I mean, it reminds me of the movie, which is based on an Agatha Christie. I think it's Agatha Christie, but Identity with John Cusack.
I love that movie.
Where there's 5 personalities, and you're seeing this movie get played out inside this guy's mind, and he's at the table, and at the very end they cut.
Someone's killing someone.
Yeah, and they cut, and it's kind of the reaction, and that's the same reaction on her face is when he's like, "What's going on?" or and she has that look of whoa.
Also, Koff 2009 in the chat mentioned that there's possibility they're saying stages more because Elliot's dad died from cancer. And then it might not be as direct as someone in the show actually has cancer.
Okay.
I like that observation.
And then it's prevalent. It is prevalent as they're saying that White Rose likely caused it, and he speaks of stages.
Okay.
And White Rose is the one saying stages.
Because I'm trying to see if anyone besides White Rose and Elliot, someone that has no skin in the game in a sense that's calling it stage. Let's say Tyrell.
Okay.
Why does Tyrell call it stage? That's
because White Rose called it stage. I mean, White Rose.
Fair enough. Okay.
Whatever's tied in. At this point, we have to presume there's more to Elliot's dad than we know, and it's tied into White Rose in some way. It was made very clear last week when White Rose literally said he came to the universe brought him to us when he brought him to us, and then when he wasn't useful, he wasn't useful.
I agree. Well, I mean, I feel like there's more to the whole snowman story getting pushed out the window, because that I felt was such a good moment with his interaction with Krista when he's just like, oh yeah, when my dad pushed me out the window. And he was like, I could have sworn I told you. I don't know. There was something really, I don't know, intriguing about that moment, because I felt like I was like, wait, did he ever tell her? I felt like I was Elliot too, kind of walking through. It's like, no, he never did. He was having that conversation with Mr. Robot, which is essentially himself. But I don't know. I feel like there was something there besides just them making a snowman, and then he, finds.
Right.
But then it's that whole mind f of when we realized that he was in prison too. So I can't believe a lot of the different conversations that he has with her, if they have happened or if they haven't happened, because they've screwed with us so much in this show. I agree with you. Where I was like, no, he didn't. But at the same time, I'm like, why is he confused?
She's right. I'm going to go with you on this one because when he talked to Darlene about it, Darlene approached him with the fact that it kind of hit her, and she paused for a second, and she said, I'm paraphrasing, are you ready to talk about it?
Yeah.
And that's what intrigued me about what you're saying with that.
But just seeing him confused, I don't know, it was almost like, maybe it's just me, a wink that the show is doing at us when it's like, yeah, sometimes it is hard to keep track. Because I don't even remember now, was he actually pushed out of the window by his father, or did he push himself out? I don't remember.
Season 1, they showed him fall out. They never actually showed conclusively how he fell out of the window. They just show
So
he
we
fell out
don't
the window.
know when he was little how that happened.
We don't know.
We just know it happened. We found out after they built a snowman, and after, you know, his mother found out that his dad had cancer. That's all we know so far.
So it could also be Elliot threw himself out of the window, or his father pushed him out of the window. We don't know that because he's an unreliable narrator.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's like they screw with you so much.
Or he threw himself out of the window.
That's what I'm saying.
Or Elliot threw himself out of the window, but remembered it falsely that his father threw him out of the window, and that's why the version of his father he created was such an asshole.
And, I mean, he did that himself. He pushed him in the first season, and then later we're like, well, that was clearly you.
Yeah, that his father was actually this very kind, gentle man.
Where
But he created a version of his father, possibly to cope with his death.
Or with his own guilt of, you know, not keeping his secret, because he felt really bad about that.
But what I love about this show and how it presents dualities is there's the logical dualities we understand, but if by the end of the season they tell us the Hadron Collider is to create or otherwise create a second universe, or to create a portal to a second universe, and that we've been seeing both of them concurrently for 3 seasons. Yeah, I'd buy that. That explains all the duality just as easily. This show can do that. I have faith that this show could pull something like that off.
Yeah, there's too much going on. Someone on the thread mentioned that when Mr. Robot first comes out and you hear his voice and Elliot's voice at the same time.
Yeah,
how, like,
the reverberation.
I was like, what am I hearing? It was good. That was a good moment.
Also, hello friend in the chat. Also, Mr. Robot is aggressive because Elliot wished his dad could have been more aggressive fighting E Corp while he was alive. All great points. Do we want to get to the death?
No, it reminds me of Cloak and Dagger.
Yep.
Where he wants I don't know if you guys ever heard that, but where he just wants, he emulates like a father figure, like that's like action hero, because his real dad is like his airplane pilot.
But yeah, they killed off my girl this episode.
Joanna.
Dude, I'm shocked that they killed her in episode 2, and I wanted to see her character go farther.
Me too. I was disappointed, but I mean, I don't know. After rewatching, I was like, fine, I guess. They have to kill someone you kind of like.
I always liked her in small doses. Like I like Joanna in the exact amount we got of Joanna, and I think she's she's run her course, and B, there's a possibility, especially next week, where we get to see a whole bunch of her, because next week's the Tyrell episode.
That's true.
And
I feel like I was very disappointed that, and I still would have been interested to see where she gone, and then after rethinking about it, I was like, maybe she has run her course, and you know, we got to see her. She was such an ice queen. I don't know. But her scenes with Elliot were always really good.
So, you know, when Esmail wrote, you know, he's speaking about Joanna, the character, he described her as Lady Macbeth. From the onset, and she was the big villain, and what I remember from the end of season 1, and that she was going to be the big baddie, and we only really had that confrontation towards the end of season 2 with Elliot and Joanna and whatnot, and then for her to go out like that's maybe okay. Like we said, it's going to be a Tyrell episode next week. My biggest curiosity is with Tyrell. He always seems like I don't know if he's a zealot or if he's because he's a fan of someone. He was obsessed with Joanna. Now he became obsessed with Elliot. What's going to happen now with the passing of Joanna? Is she just gone? What's going on? You know, I don't know if you guys saw the trailer for next week, and he shows his undying devotion to Elliot still. So I want to know what happens, because I miss the old Tyrell. I miss the sociopath. Sorry,
I agree.
The guy, right?
yeah.
You know, and now it's almost he's like a Branch Davidian. He's you know, he's just so impassioned with Elliot. I want to see who really is Tyrell.
I agree. I was saying this last week. Like the first season, Tyrell was calculated and he was very careful and precise. And yeah, he had rage going on, but it was controlled. And now he just seems off the rails
because he doesn't know who he is. Maybe the psychopath that he was in season 1 was because he wanted to please Joanna.
Yeah.
Because he has no sense of self in a way.
But don't you just love how like they really confirmed, no, she's dead. Like we're gonna, because someone made a comment like they like show her skull.
We're gonna crack her skull up, and she's dead.
You know, by the way, Dexter baby, that was the first thing I was thinking of when they showed the shot.
The blood,
of, like,
the blood is
I'm
on the
like,
kid's face, and he's. I can only imagine if that's CGI, or if they're just kind of like, okay, we're gonna put like little dots on your kid's face.
Can we talk about this real quick?
Yes, please.
They're sending a kid to foster care.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to report the death of the kid's mother.
Yeah.
Like, that's heinous.
It's terrible. And you don't have to make it a public thing. I don't get why you can't privately reach out to, like, her family or his family or the next of kin.
Well, no, the next of kin is Tyrell. That's the actual problem.
I mean, I'm sure she has someone else.
No,
the
but
baby
you
could
can't.
Go to.
You're either giving the child to the next of kin or you're not.
We have to think
You
of the
can't. I don't think the FBI in that regard has the ability to say this child will be handed off to Joanna's mother, but we can't tell Tyrell. Like, they can't do that.
Well, they don't have him.
You can't. There's so much, like Santiago said it himself. You have the most wanted man in the world. It's the unfortunate part of it. I'm sorry. It's like you said, it's heinous. But what other? They can't contact anyone. They're trying to get this guy.
And I mean, here's the thing: this kid's probably gonna have a better life anyway than being with some psychopath. My mom was murdered. I got a psychopath dad.
They got money though.
I have a real question though.
Money can't buy you happiness, Steve.
So what was
Money can buy you a happier childhood.
My thing was, what was her motivation to like go on the show and like profess her love to Tyrell and her loyalty? Like, I was just like, why did she do that? Because I mean, directly, that's the reason that got her killed. I just don't get, like, what did she have to gain from that? Can she have not just broken up?
Wasn't there
with
something
him?
going down in season 2 where she needed?
I mean, I know that
Because she at some point Tyrell was ruled dead, and because he was ruled dead, she was able to collect. She was able to collect on all his benefits. Like,
I don't know.
I know for a Lady Macbeth-like character, it's kind of petty to think she's only after the money, but I think like there's a big part of it that's just like, yeah, I would very much like to live my lifestyle.
But I don't think she needed to go on the show and say, "Oh, he's the only man I ever loved." I feel like those words were deliberately to, like, you know, sting the other guy, and then I don't know. Maybe she underestimated how much he was into her and how he was just gonna.
That's just arrogance.
But she always kind of made it known that the guy was like her boy toy.
Right.
She, you know, like, I mean, what was the guy? He was
But
like he was a bartender,
yeah,
right?
Derek
I mean,
was a bartender, but she played him.
Of course. I mean,
I don't
they're
know.
women, man.
It
Women
just-
always play dudes. I mean,
Good luck in the
I think
comments,
it was just miscalculation on her part. It just felt like such a stupid thing that would get her killed. You know what I mean? But.
No, but you bring up a great point. What was her motivation? Was it the status? Was it the money? Or was it the plan of?
I don't know. Like, maybe
with
she's
her and
still in
Tyrell?
contact with him, and
I don't think
I
she
hope
was
they
contacted.
let us
maybe
know.
we'll find out next episode.
I know. I hope we find out because it just seemed weird. Like.
So.
Here we go. Hello, friend. Akira says, I think going on the show was also a way to contact Tyrell, since Scott was the one guy playing with her, sending her things.
That's good.
I buy that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that it's literally her, in the chance that Tyrell's listening at all, being able to say, I buy that.
Yeah, because a lot of season 2, it's like, I think they showed in the opening, you know, she's like, is that you? You know, when the phone calls are coming in, she's like, is this you? So maybe it's kind of like, hey, yeah, exactly. I'm going on national television. Hopefully he's watching. I'm going to try to send some sort of weird message to him.
By the way, her chauffeur survived, so I don't know. I feel like that, obviously, that's going to have to lead to somewhere. Otherwise, why would they just kill them all off? He's going to be some loose end at some
Mr.
point.
Sutherland, well, he's not necessarily a loose end because Derek wasn't a part of a huge plan. He just in a crime of passion.
No, but I mean, like, his connection with Tyrell. I don't know. I mean, there's a reason they kept him alive. There has to be.
Well,
Who's
no, that's
Sutherland?
Yeah.
Sutherland's cagey. He's gonna be fine. I'm sure he's an ICU FBI. He's gonna cross-examine him. He'll be fine.
I want to see that scene though.
Yes.
Where they cross-examine him. He's like, I don't know what you're talking about.
That would be a great head-to-head.
I'm a chauffeur to a lady with a baby.
Who got shot in the head.
You trying to tell me I'm a part of F society? I'm a well-paid chauffeur.
I really hope that we see that.
We reward loyalty here
Yeah.
in the Wellick household. How are we feeling about predictions? Or do we have anything else we want to talk about with the actual episode? Talked about the cracking of the skull. Talked about the giving away the baby. Talked about all the just heinousness.
Also, they were playing "Listen to Your Heart" during that scene.
Yeah, Roxette. Another good 80s song, just like
the
in excess.
soundtrack on
Yep.
point.
Actually, sorry, that was an early 90s song.
True that. So we're ready for predictions?
Sounds good.
I was already trying to think about listen to your heart. I was like, okay, what does that mean in the context of the scene? You know, with Joanna's character, her why, her modus operandi, I guess.
All right. I don't know, because we went so micro this week and we were so macro last week, like I don't have any particular predictions topics like I normally do, starting with JC. What do you think is going to go down next week and beyond?
Alf is coming back. No,
Alf?
Yo, boy!
He's back, but in pog form.
So it means we're going to have less cats in the world.
No, it goes to what you were saying, Lesley, towards the end of the recap right now about, or was it a hello friend, that the reason why Joanna was on TV was so that Tyrell would see her. But as we see in the preview next week, he's kind of like a mountain man. So I doubt he's even he has any access to media. Perhaps he's chopping down trees. So he, that's he may not know.
Yeah.
So the news is going to be, someone's going to tell him, and one of two things is going to happen. He's going to go ape shit, or he's going to say my loyalty was to Elliot anyway, because that's his Christ.
That's fair.
Well, I was going to ask you guys, do you think next week's episode is going to be, obviously it's going to be about Tyrell, but is it going to be like almost like one of those standalone episodes?
I think it's going to be very flashbacky.
He deserves it.
I agree. I mean, I've been
We need some
wanting to know
context.
what's going on this whole time. I'm hoping we get a little more insight into the whole thing with Joanna, just because I would like to know. And it would be cool to see her on screen a few more times before she's officially gone. I still think that's a really mesmerizing character. And then, I mean, so I was also going to say about Elliot. I wanted to point out, like, in the earlier scenes when he's, like, crying, he's depressed, he's on medication. It's not really helping him. I think there's a scene of him looking in the mirror and it's broken. There's just like, I don't know. But now I feel like he's going to be stuck in this place. He wants to be part of a team again, but he's trying to get there. I don't know. Maybe we'll see some more interaction with him and Tyrell with the next episode.
I could buy that.
Following that.
Well, we're definitely going to see what's happening.
These aren't coherent thoughts. They're just
but
random
there's going to be a lot of
excuse.
flashbacks because even last season we didn't get a whole lot of Tyrell. That we're going to get a lot of
He was
context.
pretty much gone for the whole season. He was like the MacGuffin.
Yeah, like we're going to get a lot of context.
Yes.
From a whole season's worth of missing Tyrell.
I think that's exactly what they're doing. They're going to show you what happened throughout that time when he was missing. That's exactly what's going to happen next week.
For me, I was going to say, I think as we're moving forward, we're going to see more of Krista, Mr. Robot.
Ooh.
More Krista, Mr. Robot, as opposed to Krista Elliot. Like now that he's revealed himself, he's going to be there, and maybe she's going to be kind of having weird therapy sessions with Mr. Robot to try to understand what's going on. That's like my kind of prediction for the next couple episodes. I do agree.
That would be fun to see.
I do think that, the next episode might be more of a standalone, like Lesley was saying.
So I think alternate universes. Rick will show up with a portal gun. No, not that serious. I think to expound upon what I said last week, it's a hadron collider, not a hydrogen collider. That was my bad. But also, there's something to be said about the computing power that you would create with a hadron collider. Whether that's just to be able to mine bitcoins faster than everybody else, or you're creating another universe. I think that's what Stage 3 is. And it's all by White Rose.
Stage 2.
Well, no, Stage 2 is blow up the building. Stage 3, I think, is something with a hadron collider.
Okay.
Gotcha.
There's
Going
something,
forward, okay.
There's something about Elliot's dad that hasn't been explained yet, that either he was given cancer because they didn't want him anymore, or cancer was a write-off for a way for him to go away so they could bring him back if they need to bring him back. There's weirdness afoot with E Corp and White Rose and Elliot that I don't want to spin off the planet just yet. More minute, I think I already said. I think we're going to get a lot of context for where Tyrell was, and it's going to put a lot of mysteries back in play of like where Tyrell has been. But let me know in the comments if I'm wrong about the Mandela effect. With because there are a lot of examples in the last 2 episodes where there have been the address on a menu will be one thing, and then the physical street address will be a completely different thing, but like a couple numbers off, like not incredibly noticeable. I think every season of this show is going to have some type of perspective shift, and I honestly think this is going to be. It's not clear to me what is what, but I think there are some storylines that we're watching right now that will be revealed to us as existing on a different plane as other storylines. They've just happened to have been presented to us on the same timeline. Once again, I don't want to spin off the planet, so I'll stop there. But let me know in the comments if you think there's a separate perspective shift, or they're going to swerve us this time and there's no perspective shift, because there has been two. Let me know in the comments. I'm open to the discussion. But, yeah, that's why I waited till it go last. It's like, I got some weirdness, guys. I got some weirdness going down. I spend a lot of time on Reddit.
I mean, that's right. I mean, is Mandela Idris Elba, or is he Morgan Freeman? Or is he just some third guy?
He's Matt Damon.
Matt Damon, yeah.
You got anything to you?
Yeah, I'm gonna bite my tongue because there's something I don't know if I read it somewhere about and that's where I have to dig a little deeper about the capacity of the collider and just the ability to even the government's working on stuff right now as we speak of, but they could also even help cure cancer.
Okay.
I was thinking that while you were talking about that, actually. But
yeah,
I guess maybe next week.
Okay, and the Yellow King in the chat, the Hadron Collider is meant to hack the quantum computer.
There we go.
Then you need the computing power to hack a quantum computer, and if you can hack the quantum computer, you hack the planet. Oh, I did it.
How about this? Your predictions. Ask the fans what their predictions are. We always give our own, you know.
It's guaranteed we'll give our own. We want to hear yours in the comments.
Yeah, for sure.
Give us thumbs up.
Well,
Let us know, and we'll talk about them next week too. For sure.
Well, we'll call out comments that we're dead on. So let us know what you think will happen next week and beyond. We'll catalog them and bring them up again. You'll get that shout out on the show. In the meantime, I think we covered it here, friends.
Chopped and diced.
Chopped, diced, happened. It's gone like Joanna. JC.
Once again, thanks, guys. And the whole, the Goo Goo Doll reference is actually a password to the guy Elliot hacked in the very beginning of the episode.
I dig it.
Yes, follow me at jcrubiotv.com, or what is it, JC? It's been so long since I gave my handle.
You should know your
Dude,
handle.
I haven't done a show
man.
since December. So follow me at JC Rubio on Twitter, Instagram, or on Friendster. See ya.
All right, cool. And I'm Lesley Corral. You can follow me online at Leslie.face on Instagram and Twitter.
And you guys can find me on all social media at Rick Hong, RICKHUNG. And on Sunday with this guy, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for Netflix News, we're going to debut the trailer, which dropped, I believe, yesterday, for The Punisher season 1.
We actually have a lot to talk about this week.
Yeah.
On Netflix News. Steve Kaufmann, as always, you can find me on Twitter almost exclusively at Steve Kaufmann. That is KAUFMANN. You can also go to thesoberyear.com. That's a blog I'm doing about being sober. I'm week 18 sober. It's a thing I'm doing. You can go to a vlog, I believe. I just shot one in the White Room and did it. Thank you and good night.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Don't mistake our buzz you later for a buzz you later.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro,
Herein are those of the
Phil
host only,
Svitek,
do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.